Hello. So this isn't how I intended to begin this little channel. Whoops. Go back 2 spaces. Hi, I'm Kirk, for those who don't know me. My husband and I are moving to Ecuador. Move ahead 1 space. This channel is primarily for friends and family, to let folks know we're alive and well, and not crazy at the decision we've made. So it's not going to be a I'll help you move to Ecuador kind of spot. I'll likely throw out tidbits of wisdom gleaned from our process from time to time, but it's just that. Our process. If you're watching this for info, be wary. There be dragons. And now, back to the top. So, this isn't how I had intended to begin this little channel. I wanted to ponder and plan, do a nice, slick layout, blah, blah, blah. And no doubt at some point that will happen. But this is more immediately for those who are asking us,
Did you see the news about Ecuador?
and to be clear, we're not yet there. We're still here in Reading, Pennsylvania, watching the news and YouTube folks we trust, Luis of Ecuador, GMAce, and more recently fall off the map. And most certainly not changing our minds about moving to Ecuador in 36 days. Yikes, 30-some days. Here's my quick elevator pitch explaining the situation.
Third floor, oversimplified information.
Ecuador had long been the peaceful oasis of South America, sitting happily between its more narco-influenced neighbors, Peru and Colombia. As the drug trade came more under scrutiny in those countries, they saw Ecuador with its ports and its currency, the US dollar, as a useful distribution target. And here I'll stop and say that this is way oversimplified, but I'm not a political scientist, just a guy trying to ease the minds of our friends. Anyway, for a number of years, primarily, but not solely, because of the narco influence, corruption crept into all facets of the Ecuadorian government, as it tries to do in all governments, and thus the criminals were left kinda to their own devices. In the last couple of years, Ecuador realized it had a decision to make. Keep strolling further down this corrupt path, which was not doing any good for anyone other than the corrupt, or, as the new president Daniel Noboa has decided to do, finally push back and work to excise the bad influence of the narcos and those in the government that have allowed, or rather enabled for their own benefit, this spiral toward the dark side. So, that brings us to today-ish. What we're seeing in Ecuador with its 60-day state of emergency is a good thing, a pushback against the corruption that has blemished this beautiful country. And push generally does come to shove, and that's what we've seen from the criminal elements in the country. It is a natural reaction. Not surprising at all. What is surprising and incredibly hopeful is that President Noboa seems to be the real deal. Not just another corrupt politician who will bow to the whims of the narcos, but rather will stay his course, saying, my words, his sentiment, that there is resolve here, and we will not back down against the tyranny of the criminal element. So yeah, they're pissed off. But they are being roped in. The government and justice system is being purged and overhauled. And no, it's not going to be quick. Or easy. But Ecuador is on a great new path correction. So, all is good. Yep, there are areas that are dangerous. Then again, I currently live in Reading, Pennsylvania, which folks in the burbs refuse to cross the bridge into 'cause it's so dangerous. Unless they want to see Taylor Swift or some other concert, hockey game, event at our spiffy arena. So, It's really kind of all about perspective. I lived in Hell's Kitchen, now the more Tony Clinton, at 9th and 48th Street in New York in the 80s when I had to ask crack addicts, dealers to move so I could get into my building at the end of the night. And I never had any trouble with them. The straight white Jersey boys were more of a danger. So yeah. Perspective. Ecuador isn't the safest place on the planet. Although the city area where we're moving to is called Cuenca in the Andes. Most of the violence and danger are on the coast, and it's pretty relatively safe there. Pretty darn safe. Yep, petty crime happens, but show me a city where it doesn't and I'll give you $1. Perspective, indeed. Ours remains that we have made an excellent decision for the next great adventure in our lives. And since we're now very portable, more about that tossing away process and all of the other ins and outs of this process in other videos. If all does somehow go to shit, we'll pack our tubs, our cats, and move on to the next. But I don't see that happening. I have faith that Ecuador, under its new leadership, can meet and best this challenge. I have faith that Ecuador, with its flaws like anywhere else, will be our new forever home. So thanks for watching. Feel free to ask any questions. I'll try to answer as best I can, or probably point you towards someone more learned than I. Reference the links to the people I mentioned earlier. Until we meet again, here or there, life is good. And it's too short to be lived in what-ifs. Love, peace, and lots of light to us all. See you soon.